Hello darlings, how are you? I'm really super late today and it was because of this little bugger. So I have got a meal and I could have done without it because as you know I was just chucking whatever is available. I could have done without it, but I was looking everywhere for my zucchinis and they were in the car. There you go, so I had to run out and check. Now look, is this back to front for you guys? It probably is. This is a new apron and I'm going to do a little demo for you. Real food is medicine. As you know, we totally believe that. Real food is medicine, that eating real food is what keeps us well, and that eating real food can heal lots of our chronic diseases. So when people go food's not medicine, it is. It totally is. Now my loves, tonight I'm cooking a rack of lamb and I'm doing that feta vegetable dish. Now, part of the reason I'm doing the feta dish is because I've got my new feta, not the old feta that I had, which had vegetable oil in it. Now, I know lots of you have seen our post, and I have never considered to check the back of my feta because I had just assumed that cheese is milk, rennet, or some sort of hey Lani, some sort of culture, and for the majority of cheeses it is, but not Lemnos, not Coles brand of Danish feta. So this is the Aldi brand, which does not have any vegetable oil in it, and that makes me happy. So this is that dish. It was originally on TikTok, I think, by a girl in Finland, and it went viral, and it's really exciting for her, but it's also a ripper dish. Now, the original one just had tomatoes and this block of feta. And of course, I'm meant to be able to just peel it easily, but I'm being a bit unco and I can't do it, partly because I've been huffing and puffing my way around the house looking for the wretched zucchinis, which, as I said, I could have done it without it, but I really wanted to put them in. So, when you can't get your fingernails to do what they're supposed to do, scissors are very handy. So basically this dish, I'm just going to do the vegetables first, and I'm going to put it in the oven, and I'm going to put the rack of lamb in the oven, and then I won't make you wait while it cooks. It will only take about 25 minutes, but then I'm going to show you the presented dish in a photo. So basically we get a slab of feta, plop it into some oven-proof tray. I'll put the olive oil on it at the end, and then chop. So you can get, I've got some yellow tomatoes, and I'm putting them all in because this feta stuff, it sort of turns into like a sauce. You can use it for pasta if you want to. You can use it, but you can also just use it as a side, as it is, which is why I'm adding more veggies to it, because I want to have it as a roasted vegetable sort of saucy thing. So as you know, I try not to chop, and I actually need I use these plastic things to grow some basil in. It's very handy. You can just fill it, any bits of plastic like that, you just buy some of that peat moss or coir or koi or whatever it's called, and then you put some basil seeds in it, and it's brilliant. So I always make use, if everyone ever, I know ideally not using plastic is good, but if you can then reuse your plastic, then that's also quite good. So a few tomatoes in there, and then these little buggers, which as I said, I could not find them anywhere. They were hiding at the bottom. They'd fallen out of my bag, and they were hiding in the back seat of the car, which I'm sure maybe at some level the vegetables did not want to be chip-chopped. Now, unfortunately, I forgot to set up the second thing to see your comments. I can see a few of them, and I can see some people who are watching, and I'm very grateful that you are spending your time watching me cook, because as you know, cooking is really, it's not my forte. I'm not a cook. I'm not no training in cooking. I just hack things up, filling them into a dish and stick it in the oven, or usually cook it on my little hot plate over here for you. But I guess what that means is that you don't have to be fancy to be able to cook real food real fast. And this one is actually going to be amazeballs, because it is a bit like a restaurant meal. So 2 zucchinis, they go in. The zucchinis are quite watery. So when you're cooking this dish in the oven, put it up the top, because the steam, it will, water out steam. You don't want your dish super watery. And then I'm just going to put in a capsicum, Again, doing my usual hack it off style. Remember, food, I know that there's fancy ways to chop things and you can do that, but I don't know how to do it, so I just chop random shapes. So I think what I've realised from today's little lesson about the cheese is that we do have to be vigilant about ingredients that are in anything in a packet. I had sort of just assumed that it would be normal, but you know, to get anything creamy, so they get the feta, and to make it creamy, they add in vegetable oil, which has zero nutrition, is inflammatory, and takes away from the protein of the proper cheese. And you know, as you know, we don't like industrialized vegetable oils. It's just a cheap way. It's like a filler. It's the equivalent of a filler. So it just makes the food go faster. Not faster, further. And cheaper. So that's why they do it. But yes, it is a tiny bit disappointing. And clearly I think that Lemnos and Coles are just the same cheese, different packaging, because they are exactly the same ingredients. So then I just fling all that in. Now, so this is a beautiful coloured tray of vegetables. We've got yellow and red tomatoes. I've got some mushrooms. I've got some zucchini and some red capsicum. And then I'm going to get my lovely big blob of olive oil for this one. Plop that over. Clonk, 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 clonk. Quite generous because, you know, that's basically part of the sauce. And you can use the herb and garlic mingle if you like. I am just partial to this dill one. So now remember, you actually have to shake these things because there's no anti-caking agent. So quite often it's a bit lumpy. So that's the dish. And then you just bang that in the oven. Like how simple is that? That's taken me like, I don't know, 7 minutes. And then over here, I am putting on my rack of lamb. So I actually went to Aldi today, mainly to have a look at their cheese because somebody said the Aldi cheese is good. So while I was there, I thought, oh, well, I'm going to get this. It's Australian lamb. It's a big rack. I've never really cooked a rack of lamb before, but I figure it can't be that hard. It's quite fatty on the top. A lot of that fat will just melt away. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 little friends. So given how fatty this is, how many would I eat? I reckon they're going to be reasonably chunky. I'd probably have 2 or 3. So, you know, it's a quite an expensive dish. I'm not going to say that rack of lamb is cheap. It's, you know, and really, my husband's pretty lucky getting this midweek. In fact, speaking of husbands, he's been away. So, as you know, Melbourne and Victoria are not in lockdown. Unfortunately, most of the country is, and we can't go anywhere because if we go somewhere, we can't come back. So that's been really a bit of a bummer. So we were meant to go to WA for the school holidays. That got cancelled, and I just decided to stay at work. I'm just going to do a bit of this massagey thing that I see fancy chefs doing. And so anyway, he was going to go, you know, he was going to go to work, and then he just decided he did need a break. This is what's happening with a lot of doctors. Because holidays were all cancelled, people didn't take leave because you're just stuck at home. So lots of people haven't had any leave for ages. So anyway, then Tuesday night, after I've done my cooking show and we're sitting around, he goes to me, I'm going to go on a holiday. And I go, oh, okay. And so you know where he books? He just books to Cairns. I go, when are you going? In a day and a half. So he and my daughter have been having lovely 6 days in Cairns, beautiful hot weather, sending me lots of photos, and I'm busy working away. But I think it's good. It's good to get away. It's good to get stuff. I'm just going to wash my hands because I've got greasy lamb goop on them. And while I'm there, I'm going to get rid of this out of the view. So then with this dish, if you haven't seen it, you basically put it all into the oven like this. Super simple, it's already in. Put it in 20 minutes, maybe 25 because I've got a lot of veggies in it. And then you get the feta and you get a fork and you just basically fork it through. And then you've got this beautiful dish of roasted vegetables with feta. And the reason I use the Danish feta is it's a bit milder. I find the Greek feta is just a bit pungent for this dish. But you know, everyone's up, each to their own. And I haven't put garlic in this time. Normally I would, but I just forgot. So there you go, doesn't matter. I'm not going to bang on forever tonight because you often hear me banging on. And I just really, I guess, one of the things I wanted to talk a little bit about is, I think just the idea that eating real food is really healthy. And if you're insulin resistant, eat low carb real food. Eating low carb processed food, it really sort of defies the purpose in a lot of ways. It doesn't mean that you can never have it. Like, it's not like you can never ever have a Quest bar or something along those lines. Oh. Out my door, you know, I normally got the cats out there. Yeah, it's two little dogs who aren't meant to be out there. They're meant to be in the backyard. So I don't know what they're doing at the front. Can you hear them? So it doesn't mean you can never ever have them. But it just means that when people put that in as part of their regular food, that really it's just, again, trying to sort of, I guess, and I'm not even going to use the word cheat, but what is it's trying to trick Mother Nature, if you like. I think that's what we've been trying to do the whole time since the late 70s. And I mean, the diet industry, women in particular have been dieting forever. And originally it was all about weight loss, and so low fat was all about you can eat this food and stay thin. And then they invented, soft drinks like Tresca. Ugh, so disgusting, but I drank it by the gallon because, meant I could drink something I wasn't going to get fat, apparently. And low fat ice cream came in, and again, we sort of thought, oh, well, we can eat that, and it's low fat, so I'm not going to get fat. It's really a bit the same with low carb. When we think that we can eat stuff and kind of get away with it, it's not really true. It's stuff that you might want to have as occasional food. So, if traditionally your family celebrates birthday with cake or with ice cream or something like that, it might be something to have then. But when people eat like Donata ice cream on the couch every night instead of their normal ice cream, they're probably not going to get the health or, honestly, weight loss benefits that people are aiming for. And sometimes if we point that out to people, they're not ready to hear it. They get a bit cranky and they can get a little bit snarky, and they can use words like, oh, what are you, the keto police? And it's not about that at all. It's really just about understanding that we can't trick Mother Nature. We really can't. We think we can and we would love to, but we can't. So I go back to those words of helpful and unhelpful. Is it helpful to eat Quest bars? God, I don't know what I've done with my camera, but no matter which way I stand, I'm sort of looking a bit weirdo. So is it helpful to eat Quest bars? Now, it may be helpful in the transition phase. It may be that you used to eat Mars bars every day and that this is a transition. But if you think it's going to be a replacement and that you'll be able to reclaim your health, lose a whole lot of weight and still eating bars, it's not really. It's hard to hear it, but it's just not. It's like, so for me, for example, macadamias, they're on the list. They are high fat, lots of fat in macadamias, some protein. They're a good nutritious food. But for me, I don't stop eating them. I don't just have 3 macadamias and go, oh, that was nice. I do this hand-to-mouth thing. They're not helpful for me. So I no longer buy macadamias because they're unhelpful. They're not good, they're not bad, they're just unhelpful. It's the same with a lot of low-carb desserts. I don't make them very often because I find it hard to sit on the couch. I may have had my dessert of some sort and I know there's still more in the fridge. And I find that hard. So for me, it's easier to just not have it, get used to not having it. And I think that's really have fed cats. Now I'm on. Well, Karen, my cats are locked away because they were crazy, and now my dogs are running around the front yard. Hopefully not running away, but anyway, they're not meant to be in the front yard. But when I've finished here, I'll get them off. So that's really what I'd like you to have a think about. Is what you're doing helpful or unhelpful? If you're thinking that you're wanting to really, really heal your metabolism, really heal your gut. Okay, because how many people, I see so many people with gut problems. They've got gut ache, gut pain, gut diarrhea, gut constipation, lots and lots of gut stuff. But they're eating lots of perhaps sugar alcohols, erythritol and things like that. And that's not good for our gut. Our gut does not like those things. So be kind to your body. Think about your body. Food, as you can see, as I said, I'll be back to front for you guys, and it's a big apron down the bottom. Food is medicine. Real food is medicine. It is our mantra. It's what we believe. And every now and then we do things to our body to appease our mind. And our body is very good. It really copes very well, but sometimes it just is beyond breaking point. So I think if we can take that idea that we've given this body, it does such incredible things. Most of us hate our bodies. It's really sad for them. Poor little body. They do such a good job. They carry us around. They walk us upstairs. They walk us around stairs. They help us drive. They, let us write, and all of these things. Can you please speak about prebiotics tonight, or is that a Thursday night conversation? Oh, I can chat about prebiotics. So, as far as gut stuff goes, but gut health's really, really popular. And gut, the first keys to gut. So, everyone's talking about the microbiome, and the microbiome are the, 27 trillion invisible bacteria that live in your gut. They weigh 2 kilos. So 2 kilos of invisible stuff in your gut. And it is really, they make neurotransmitters. So neurotransmitters are like little hormones that talk to our brain, to our nerve cells, and these bacteria can make them. So the gut communicates really well with our brain, and the gut bacteria communicate with our body. Like, who knew? It's a bit creepy. When people think there's, I feel like I've got something else controlling me. Maybe you do sometimes. But, so what we have is, it's like a garden, like a herb garden. So when you plant a herb garden, and we talk about, you've got your basil, you've got your mint, you've got your coriander, you've got your thyme. Now, we all know coriander goes to seed in a flash, and we know that mint takes over. It's a bit like this with your gut bacteria. You've got gut bacteria that just is really not particularly robust, and you've got some pretty strong types of bacteria that can take over the whole thing. And particularly if you've had antibiotics or if you're eating a lot of sugar, there's this one bacteria that takes over, and it's called Firmicutes, which sounds a bit scientific, doesn't it? And I remember it saying, oh, it's not firm and it's not cute. It's Firmicutes. It's associated with obesity. So this particular type of bacteria actually is able to absorb all the energy. It's like an energy extractor. So any food that's coming past in your colon, so anything that still hasn't been pulled out in your small bowel, it extracts every scrap of energy from it, which is wonderful. Oh, I love your apron. Great, you're an apron collector. Perfect. Real food is medicine. Da-da. So basically that's, and if we're a species living in starvation, it would be wonderful to have Firmicutes, because it would make sure that we extracted every scrap of nutrition. But we're not living in starvation, we're living in abundance. We have so much food available, so much, unfortunately, not nutrient dense, calorie dense, nutrient poor food. And Firmicutes is loving it, because it just goes, bring it on, baby, and it just extracts all the energy out. So people go, well, if I take some probiotics, then that might balance it out. Kind of does, but you have to really do the repair first. So the repairing is making sure that you, can you buy the aprons? Maybe this is a little taster of what's to come. I'll get back to you on that. So we want to repair the gut, and we do that by making sure we're not eating a lot of processed food, not eating a lot of sugar alcohols, obviously not eating sugar, taking out all of those things, and grains also very unfriendly to our gut, and going to that, you know, real food, grain-free real food, meat, vegetables. Some people, and I'm going to put this in here, some people don't tolerate vegetables. I know, weird. And I never thought that was a thing until recently, but there are some people. Luckily for me, I'm not one of them, and neither is Mary, and we love our vegetables. So we do cook a lot with vegetables, but we also love meat, so we're not afraid of meat. We are omnivores, and we embrace our omnivorousness. Omnivorosity. There we go, new word. So probiotics are the actual gut bacteria, and then your prebiotics are the food for the bacteria. So prebiotics are a lot of fibery stuff. So I know there's fiber is in vegetables. You don't need to have grain fiber. You can have vegetable fiber. And what that fiber does is it gets fermented into short-chain fatty acids. The short-chain fatty acids are what feed the gut bacteria. They're like your prebiotic. It's really, it shouldn't be called prebiotic, it's food. It's food, biotic food. It's what the gut bacteria like to eat. So the short-chain fatty acids look after the colonocytes, which are the actual cells that line the gut. And then there's the food, the insoluble fiber is the food that the little gut bacteria eat. But like everything, big food has gone, oh goody, fiber, let's get on this. And so breakfast cereals are covered with this idea of gut-friendly Sultana brand, and it's garbage. It's not true. Gut-friendly cereal does not exist. And if you want to know something, here I am with my microphone, reporting to you, there was a series. Hang on, how about this? Dr. Lucy Burns reporting for Real Life Medicine News. There was a series, a gut health podcast, marketed to GPs. 3 20-minute episodes on healthy gut, sponsored by Kellogg's. What a load of bullshit. So this is it. We do not need fiber from a cereal box to feed our gut. We can get it from our vegetables, and some of the vegetables have more prebiotics than others. You know, some of those like onion, and I know again, it can be tricky if you've got upset guts and stuff like that. And you can also eat kefir. Water kefir in particular has pre and probiotics in it. So you can have that, but like anything, every time you make any dietary change, you've got to go slowly. So, you know, people start chugging down a bottle of kombucha a day and they're bloated and gassy because suddenly there's like this little war of bacteria going on in their gut. We don't want that. We just want lovely, happy guts, beautiful, like a little garden, not too much mint, nursing the coriander because it goes to seed every second. And the idea is that you have lots of different gut bacteria. One of the most helpful things you can do for your gut is give it a rest. So intermittent fasting, okay, which doesn't have to be big, long fasting, but maybe, 16 hours is a sort of a minimum, is really good for gut microbiome. There is a beautiful species that actually thrives when the gut is rested. So, my loves, what I'm going to do, because I realise I've been talking so much that I haven't even put this in, I'm going to go and put this dinner on. Remember, all I do, 25 minutes, and then I get a fork and scrape up the feta. Looks exactly like it is, except when you put a fork through it, it's beautiful and soft and smoochy. The vegetables will all be mooched, and I'm going to then put that with the lamb, and I'm going to show you a beautiful picture that will be #NotUglyFood. Okay, darlings, I'm sorry, I haven't actually answered all your questions tonight. Some of the things have gone up faster, and I didn't get time. So busy looking for my zucchini that to put my second screen up. But any that are in there, I'll just go back and flick you an answer. And Lynn, I know you're watching. You and I need to have a little chat. We'll talk soon. Okay, bye, Zools.